All right, we're on. Welcome back to the Real Quick with Mike Swick podcast. Today's special guest is Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis, a man who has fought a who's list in MMA and beat so many big names. He went, I think, 9-3 in the UFC, and now he's running shop in Bellator. A guy who's crossed paths with me many times throughout our careers. He's trained at AKA, and we've had some appearances and some minimal times together where we've got to talk, but we've never had a real good long conversation where I could ask him some of those questions that I've always wanted to know and kind of how he's came up and got to where he is today. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. So let's get started. Phil Davis, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been a while since we talked, man. What's going on with you?
Well, right now, this whole COVID-19 thing is kind of happening to everybody.
Yeah.
Well, I should say most people.
Yeah.
So right now it's just kind of laying low, training, not doing a lot of traveling and training, just kind of training at my gym and trying to limit my exposure to, possible infection.
How is that for you as far as quarantine and training partners and stuff like that? Do you still train with people and you're just hoping that nobody has corona, or you just kind of don't care? Most people I'm talking to now just don't kind of care. They're just like, you're either gonna have to wait on the vaccine and then to ensure that you don't get it, or you're just gonna have to deal with it and hope that it doesn't, obviously make you sick or whatever.
Right. That's kind of rolling dice there. I just don't. It's hard for me to go down that road. So here's where I'm at. My wife and I, we own a restaurant, and if someone were to test positive in our restaurant, we would need to close the restaurant.
Right.
So I feel like I take so much more into account than just if I get it, I'll probably be fine.
Yeah, but you said you're training though, so you have to have some level of flexibility if you're training if nobody's getting tested.
Right. Well, so what I'm doing is I'm going in the morning. I'm doing a lot of bag and a lot of mitt work with my coach, so it'll be one-on-one.
Oh, okay.
But as far as training with the whole team, I'm not training with the whole team.
I think so, I think with this other stuff that's going on, obviously in America right now, the protesting and the riots and things getting shut down and all that. I think it's putting so many people together. I think that's going to answer a lot of questions on this COVID thing. If there's a gigantic spike and COVID cases and people getting COVID all of a sudden now in the next week or two, following weeks, I think that's going to really showcase that this is something serious. And if it doesn't, it's going to be kind of controversial a little bit. They're telling you to keep safe distance and stay away from everybody, and then you see thousands and thousands and thousands of people together every single day, all cities across America marching and protesting, and then all of a sudden there's no spike. That's going to be kind of and there's a lot of people we have seen that are asymptomatic. So I don't know. Like I said, I did a quarantine series and I talked to a lot of people, and the consensus kind of now, I get your place with your restaurant and stuff like that. I'm in the same situation with my gym, as you got to be safe, but it seems like the consensus is we got to just kind of move on with our lives and protect the people that are vulnerable, protect the people that are old and have pre-existing conditions, and keep them away and secure. And then we just go and battle it. Or I guess live our lives, and then if something happens, we get it. We have to just kind of face it. That's the opinion of most people. Obviously, I see, when you got responsibilities, you got a lot of things to think about and stuff like that. What do you think about the shows that are doing no audience? Does Bellator plan? Do you know of any plans by Bellator to put on any shows and possibly have some fights, or do you not know?
So Bellator is working on having shows pretty soon here, most likely in July. They'll get rolling, and they're just going to do kind of shows every week, kind of catch back up to the calendar.
Would you have any problem fighting without an audience?
No. I mean, obviously you want the crowd there because it makes more atmosphere and all that. But I tell you what, it definitely adds an element. It definitely adds a. So some of the fights that I've seen so far without an audience, it's there. I think there's an element where they have to provide more action because there is no crowd.
Yeah. That's true.
That's kind of weird, but
I see what you're saying.
Or maybe even kind of gives it this feel like you're back in the gym and there's no one clapping for you every time you punch them. So you're just going hard like you're in the gym.
Yeah.
So there's definitely an element there that I really like, but obviously, there's nothing like having 30,000 fans.
Yeah. Yeah, screaming Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. 30,000 fans screaming Mr. Wonderful. There's no replacement for that, but I'm definitely interested what it feels like to compete without a crowd. I'm pumped up for that.
What's your take, just going back real fast on the Corona thing, what is your take on how this I mean, this isn't like one of my quarantine series specials or anything, but what do you think, what's your take on how this thing's going to end? Like, what do you predict is going to be the end of this when we can be back to normal? You're back training with your team, and we're back to doing at least somewhat normal activities where we're competing and training and shaking hands again and stuff. Like what do you think is going to take for that to happen?
Well, for me, I'm pretty much going to be back training with my team once I know for sure I have a date coming up.
Right.
Right now it's like, be ready, but we're not exactly sure if this is going to happen. So again, I'm in good shape. I'm probably 10, 12 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
I'm cruising. But in terms of like hard training, and training with my entire, all the guys at my disposal, for me, that's one of those things I want to risk once I for sure have money on the line. Once I have a date, or all right, cool, you're for sure gonna be fighting. I think Bellator is kind of waiting for California to loosen their restrictions a little bit.
Right.
So when that happens, I'm pretty sure Bellator is going to be rolling out shows every week. But how it all ends, that's very interesting. It's really like I think you have a good point, like with these protests and so many people coming together. If we don't see a lot of increase in cases of COVID, I think it may start to relax a lot quicker.
Yeah. I think I'm not an expert on this by no stretch of the imagination, but I think it does get weaker the more it spreads. I think it does. I mean, in time we've seen where viruses that spread, the more they spread, the weaker they get, the less they affect people. And we know that, we do know factually that coronavirus is asymptomatic with a large majority of people. So a large majority of people that have tested in prisons, they've tested in groups of people where one person tested. And so they just tested people that weren't showing any symptoms because they were together, and everybody had it, but nobody had symptoms. So we do already know that there is definitely plenty of people that don't have symptoms already, and that their immune systems are doing what they're supposed to do and beat these viruses. So I think that I think bringing everyone together like they're doing right now in these protests and stuff, I think that might weaken everything, and there'll be some sick people come out of this for sure. But I think overall it might be a way to kind of
we needed
beat this thing. But then that brings us to the next thing is like these protests and the situation and man, it's just that now we got this issue going on, and it's like I truly hope. I mean, I'm here in Thailand, so I'm just watching this stuff on the news, and I'm seeing like America become divided, and I'm seeing all this protesting, and I'm seeing the chaos, but I'm also seeing, I think for the first time, especially more than 91, 92, I'm seeing big things happening. I'm seeing people waking up, and big people, big entities, big voices speaking out and understanding, like I had to do. I had to understand this too, because I think a lot of people are somewhat like I'm not saying like myself, but like for me, it was always along the lines of like, I'm not racist. I don't feel like anyone's lives don't matter. So I'm out of this. You know what I mean? Like I'm just gonna shut my mouth and I'm gonna be out of this and let everything, let go after the people that's doing the bad stuff and let's get help for people that are. But in reality, I came to the conclusion in this last week or so, doing research and studying that like that's just the wrong approach. And I think the approach that I'm taking with that is the problem. I think the problem is when you have a voice, whether my voice is small and only can reach a certain amount of people, or my voice can reach a large amount of people, it is my duty, if I feel Black Lives Matter, to say that I feel like Black Lives Matter, because there are people out there, and when you start thinking about people that like feel that their lives don't matter and they're American citizens living in America, that's a sad fucking thing to think about. And when I started thinking about that, it's like, if you can say those words, if these companies can say these words, if they can change the name to Black Lives Matter Plaza, going to the Capitol, if they can, if these big companies can come out and say those words, to some people out there, those words mean everything. You know what I mean? There's people out there that really do believe their lives don't matter, and you got to just say those words. So for that reason, I've been vocal about it. I think a lot of people have been vocal about it, and I'm very happy to see that change being made. So I hope we're on the right path to getting this thing fixed and getting on and understanding that this is a problem we shouldn't be facing still. This is ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. Since 91, 92, we didn't learn our lesson and we shouldn't be facing it. What is your take on that? Like, do you think this is going to be the final thing, like because of all these changes and the people that are speaking out? Do you think this is going to be what it's going to take to finally start at least making huge progress, and then maybe we can get on a little bit? Or do you think that it may take more?
Unfortunately, I think this is a progressing work. I just saw that the mayor of Temecula, which is like 45 minutes north of where I'm at in San Diego. Temecula is a beautiful little wine country town, and anyhow, so this mayor said that no good black people have ever been killed by police. I was like, wow, like a mayor said this? Yeah, the mayor of Temecula. I was like, wow. I don't even know why. Did you think this was the time to say that? Like, what made you think this political climate was like a good time to even voice that opinion if you had that? Not even really even touching on the validity, just why. But it's stuff like that that makes me say, the ideas that go along with Black Lives Matter, they're much deeper than just than a social post. This guy. And here's the deal. I'm not trying to shame this guy or talk bad about this guy, but the idea that was in his head, that honestly, I don't want to fault him for. We understand the world through our experiences, and he gained that perspective. However flawed, I think he gained that perspective honestly. And it's like, how do we traverse the same world and end up with completely opposite perspectives? Right. And so that's why I say this is we still have a long way to go.
I see what you're
this
saying,
guy. I mean, just to even put it in the absolute, we could take it back to, like, I don't know, a public lynching. I don't know. No. The whole town's gathered while someone's dead. Was that person good? I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? It's just such a weird statement to say. Yeah. Amongst other things, I mean, how are you now vouching for all police officers everywhere? That's a stupid statement. I mean, I have teammates that I won't vouch for. That's a small group. I'm like, hey, he did it. I don't know. I don't know his business. Like,
yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? But you're vouching for what? Over 1 million+ police officers nationwide? That's crazy. How does that happen? What went on in his life to make him think that every person killed by the police was a bad person?
Yeah, and how did he get to be a mayor with that belief?
How do you get to be a mayor with that belief? Yeah, I mean, and like I said, and he probably was a good mayor.
Yeah.
But how is he even effective in his job and still hold beliefs like this?
Yeah. I think it's, the one thing that's coming out of this, which is crazy to me, I think once the protesting started, once the incident happened, I think this is what's crazy to me. Okay, so first of all, I think a lot of the stuff was going on and not being seen and not being recorded. And obviously a lot of this was going on without people being shown and it being in the media. I think once this happened, I think it became like, okay, guys, look, this is going to be a huge deal. Whatever you do when you go out there, and I want to say first and foremost that I absolutely support the police departments and the first responders and the people that do a great job at their job. I'm not ditching them at all, but I am saying that you would think when this first started, the first thing that they would say is, when you go out there now, guys, above anything you've ever done before, don't fuck up. Like, don't fuck up. Don't do anything stupid, because there's cameras and there's people. And since this has started, it seems like it is enormous amounts of videos coming out that are just unarguably just horrible acts on the behalf of the police. The Buffalo officers that pushed the 75-year-old man down and cracked his head open. The yelling at people and the slamming people around and the shooting people and the tear. It's like, even under this scrutiny, and people, they have to be telling them to be as most careful as possible, because anything you do is going to be amplified times 100 right now. We're still seeing so many situations. That leads me to believe, like what you said, there was a huge problem, because even when they're being on their best behavior, some of these bad officers and these bad people, they're still fucking up really bad, like to a point of you're just shocked to see it, knowing that there's nothing but people with cameras around.
And they're everywhere.
And they're operating as if, like, I don't care about the cameras, this is normal. But it's like, what's normal? That's normal? No, that's not normal, I think that's what we got to fix is I think it's putting those videos out there, and it's putting these situations out there, and that's what they're going to have to fix, man, because it's, I can imagine. I mean, I can imagine what it must be like to be closer involved with all this stuff. I mean, looking at it from way over here.
You know what? I feel like it's kind of, to me, it's a little silly that you even have to have this conversation in order to have the other conversation. But let's have this for a second. We're gonna go veer off the beaten path just for 1 second, but I swear we're gonna come back. Okay?
So, that's cool.
Have you had a crazy ex-girlfriend?
I have had a few. Yes.
Okay. Me too. I've had a crazy ex-girlfriend. But the thing is, you still like women, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. Me too. I still love women. Well, I still love my wife. The rest of them can't help you.
Yeah, exactly. Good catch.
Good catch, right? Good catch.
Yeah, good catch.
Same thing. I mean, I've been to a really crappy restaurant before. You have too. And we both complained about our food. And I still love going out to eat. But why is it that when I say I've encountered a shitty police officer, every police officer in the world wants to come down on me? It doesn't seem logical. It proves the point that I'm trying to make, in that this is a systemic problem. When I complain about one person, all the people unite to say that I am somehow the problem because this person treated me in such a way. That to me does not make sense. If I say this car sucks and you have a car the same color, we don't just agree that cars are terrible. No, this car is bad. There's no reason to say all cops aren't bad. All people aren't bad. That doesn't never even need to be said. Police officers have a tough job. They are, they stand for bravery. They put their lives on the line. We love them and we appreciate them. Period. But let's not get that twisted. That doesn't put you in a category where you can never be scrutinized. Yeah. We all love flying and traveling places. But when a pilot messes up, we say, yo, get his ass out of the plane. That's it. You don't get to mess up. People can die. Yeah. But I just don't understand. Like, again, I don't need to reiterate that I love police, that I work alongside police. I have friends and family that are police. I shouldn't have to reiterate that to scrutinize specific instances.
Right.
I'm not saying, hey, the whole city's cops are bad. No, that's silly. Hey, well, all cops are bad. No, that's equally silly. Yeah. There are individuals who take advantage of their power and their situation. And unfortunately, they give other individuals a very bad reputation. And they, out of most of my encounters with or around police, they've been super cool. Just normal cats. Hey, this, that, cool. Yeah, all right, cool, fine. And then there's a couple, I'm like, hey, I don't understand what's going on here. And they separate themselves from the rest of the police officers. And the same thing, looking at what's happening with George Floyd, it's odd. I heard Michael Che, this comedian, he said, Black Lives Matter. How is that even a controversial statement? Like, you're just saying that they matter. They're not even just they just matter. Like that's controversial. Like how? I think I try to, on social media, I try to make my stance. I definitely don't involve myself on every political issue, on most political issues.
Yeah,
very few. But then there's some that I'm just like, I'm kind of, my hands are tied. Like, this is ridiculous. And yet I see people that are like, why was this man resisting arrest? And I'm like, is it called resisting arrest if you were smothered to death? Because that's a fact. You did die. So were you resisting arrest, or were you trying to live? Because fighting to live is, that's a natural instinct.
Well, you can legally not stop for an officer if he's trying to pull you over in some states. If you're on like a long dark road, because you can claim you were in fear of your life, and you can wait and let the police chase you until you get to like a service center or a public place and pull over. I know from criminal. I took criminal justice in high school, and so it's like there is that, what you're saying. And even so, even if someone is resisting arrest, that's not a death sentence. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a, if he doesn't have a weapon and he's trying to hurt you, if he's trying to resist, not murder you, like not attack you, but trying to just get away, that's a defensive situation, and it's not it's not a death penalty case, especially on the spot, So either way, that situation was wrong. But I have like a real futuristic view on this, and like, I don't see why other people don't see this way. Like, obviously we have to live in the now, we have to live in the present, and I get that, and we have many different ethnicities and races around the world and stuff like that. But if you look back, I said this on a Verif podcast as well, but like, if you look back like 100 years ago, it's like there wasn't any interracial relationships, there wasn't very much mixing, and everybody was pretty much their own ethnicity and their own race, their own color. And you look at the difference now, you have to assume that in the future, it's not even you have to assume, it's 100% in the future. It depends on how long. Everyone's going to be the same eventually. Eventually everyone's going to be mixed together, and hundreds of years from now, it's going to be just people. There's people that are traveling, and the world's expanding, and everyone's like, So it's like, I don't know. It's just crazy to me that we're still battling this whole equality thing, especially as Americans, the land of the free, you know, when we have all these rights and freedoms and yeah, it's crazy to me, man. And then I'm seeing all the impact that it's having, especially directly after COVID. And it's like, God, it's detrimental to a lot of these businesses, man. A lot of these people are like losing everything. And yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, man. Crazy situation, but it's got to fix. This is something that I think it has to change, and I think this is hopefully the thing that's going to put it in the right direction and start getting something done. I think it's going there, man. I from what I see a lot more people standing up, like I said before, than before, like during the 91, 92 situation. So I think that's going to definitely help, and I think that's going to start the right turn of events, hopefully. But anyway, aside from that, so you obviously are training what you can, getting ready for a fight, just waiting to hear. And I know how that is, man. Even when there is no coronavirus and quarantine, it's like it's hard to sometimes know when you're fighting. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, maybe this, maybe that. So you're just trying to. But I will say, for my last fight camp, I don't think it's going to affect like you and other people as much, because like in my last fight camp, because of my age, I was like 36, 37, or I don't even know, but I think it was 37. But I took it easier. You know, I didn't go in there like we used to do at AKA and like just beat the crap out of each other. And I had like an easier fight camp where it was a lot more technical, a lot more Thai pads and focus mitts and bag work and cardio, a lot of hard cardio. And I felt really good. I don't think it's going to set people back too much to not have these crazy hard sessions beating each other up for 4 weeks. I'm sorry, for 2 months, 8 weeks camps, you know. And so I think I don't think it's going to set anyone back too much until this thing gets over and we get back to normal life again, hopefully. And yeah, that's,
you know what? It's funny. I listened to you know, just little things different guys say, and I forget who it was. Definitely somebody older who I respected, maybe BJ, somebody on that level, and they said, you know, if I could do it all again, I would spar less. I was like, huh. Yeah. I didn't see that coming. And you know, as I gain, you know, growing age, I'm like, I can see how there's a lot of truth there. And 100%, there was a time where I needed to spar twice a week, 3 times a week. And I've outgrown that stage for sure. Yeah. Like once a week is plenty. Twice a week is maybe a couple times out of camp, you know. And in between camp, and, you know, that time, I really like to make sure I'm taking care of my body. Like you, like I'm blessed to be able to, you know, grow older in this sport and still be freaking at a high level. And you just don't do that by, you know, pushing through injuries year after year. You just don't. Your body is going to break. So I've used this COVID time to really, man, I've been competing with my wife, and we've been running. Man, she's faster than I am, but somehow I win.
The competitive side.
Yeah. Exactly. I told her, I was like, listen, you're faster, but as long as I know we're in a race, I just can't stop. I've got to win.
That's funny, man.
So I'm about 30 seconds faster than my wife, which is not a lot. She's only 5'2", I'm 6'2".
Depends on how far you're running. If you're running like 45 seconds, that's a pretty big lead. If you're running like a mile,
4 miles.
Oh, 4 miles. Oh, that's okay. That's good.
But I can't, 30 seconds over 4 miles. That's the most I can beat.
That's nothing. Yeah, that's nothing.
That's nothing. Yeah. She's fast.
That's good, man. That's good that you have that you can like train with somebody still and have that fun. That helps to add to the element. Oh yeah. Do you think it's a good reset, like with this whole thing? Like it seems like you know, obviously aside from climate change and taking this break of everybody being so crowded and being in all these different places and doing all these things together and having to sit back for a while, do you think it's a good reset, like overall, or do you think? And I don't know. I've talked to some people and they feel like it's a good reset. Like it was if we can get back to normal soon, it was a good reset to get some perspective and then now get back out there, get fired up and get back, doing what we did before and not be so complacent, not take advantage of the small things. And because man, I miss the simple things now, man. Like in Thailand, we're locked down, and like we're just getting toward the point where we're getting unlocked and the gym's back open and stuff. But it's like I miss the little things now. So it's like it's going to be, I feel like, a good reset for me to like enjoy and I got that motivation back and that fire to like kickstart this next time, or whatever you want to call it, this next chapter.
Right. Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of things that I thought, oh man, COVID just really destroyed the school year. I have 2 kids and oh man, I'm now, because my wife is running the restaurant, I'm like the caretaker every day. So I'm like teaching these kids and trying to get them out of the house, away from the TV, and teach them real stuff. I get them up at like 5 o'clock, take them out in the mountain, take them hiking.
Nice.
Just teach them natural stuff. Yeah, well, bro, you know what it comes down to? I need my nap. And I don't even need a nap. I just need them to leave me alone for like an hour during that day. And so I get them up and I really I take my time trying to teach them about different stuff, like, the sunset, the sunrise, lunar calendar, like moon phases, or like just how the earth grows, whatever. Just get them out and experiencing real life away from the iPad, and that's been a real struggle, and at the same time it's been a real blessing just to be able to intimately get to know my kids and like these little things that they do and say, and how they've grown as little people, just to like get to know them intimately. That's been like huge blessing. Yeah, Benson, I had a podcast with Benson Henderson. He just said the same thing. He's a big family guy too. And like, that's kind of what I was getting at, is like, I was getting at that because, the media wants to like post all these things like, oh, divorce rates are at the highest and spousal abuse. And they want to focus on the negative side of things. But I think that this has also brought a lot of people closer to their families and given a lot of families a lot more time together, like what you're saying, to like spend that quality time where you're not having to rush to work every day and stuff like that. So there is some good, I think, even though, there's obviously a lot of bad, but I think there's some good, and it's good to see that you've been able to do some cool things with your family and capitalize on that. And let me ask you, you were talking about your restaurant. Did you, I want to say, I tried to look before I called you now, but did you recently do something to help with your restaurant and open it on Sundays or something? Did I see something like that you opened your restaurant on Sundays to help? Explain that. You did something, correct? Right. So what we did was, for any Black-owned businesses in our area, if they wanted to start a pop-up shop. So basically, we are a fully functioning restaurant. They can use our kitchen. They can use our space. They can do business out of our place, out of our restaurant on that day, because we're closed Sunday and always have been. So if they would like to operate business out of our restaurant on that day, we were inviting them to do so, and look through some of the people who have been displaced and the businesses that don't have. So it's just reaching out to see who has a need in our community and seeing if we can meet that need. And honestly, it's not even like this is a thing we do. It's not even like a COVID thing. We just want to be good neighbors, good neighbors at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right now we have a lot of neighbors whose businesses they're just struggling. And, how can we be good neighbors?
Yeah, good job, man. Well, that's how you do it. that's a good step in the right direction. Thanks. And I know it took work because you were making sure everybody had the right licenses and you were working on permits and stuff. So you were putting some work into this. It wasn't just like you were opening the doors and saying, "Hey guys, come in and do what you want." Like you actually did some work to make sure that this happened. And I think that's very strong of you, man. Very, very good. It was awesome. I like seeing that. I just saw that a few days ago, and I was like, oh, he's coming on the podcast. I got to mention that because, man, I know you're a nice guy anyway, but it's just cool I like to bring up things like that because, you know, I didn't even see it posted on your Instagram. It's not like you were flashing it around too much, but, man, if everybody did a little thing to help, you know, these little things like this, I think it makes a big difference.
Oh, it would go so far. So far.
Yeah. I want to say, so I want to get into just real fast your so I know you obviously everybody knows NCAA D1 All-American multiple time. You were at Penn State, right?
Yep.
What years were you on Penn State? Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's a silly question. That's a. What years were you there?
So I was on Penn State's team 2000 from 2003 through 2008. Okay.
Nice. And then before that, you wrestled, I assume. And what was it that got you? Because I mean, most of your storyline that I've heard in the past starts at wrestling because it's just such an amazing career in wrestling that you've had. And then you moved into MMA and then done so fantastic, amazing wins over amazing people. But what got you into wrestling in the first place? Like when you were a kid and you were coming up, what was your driving force to get into wrestling? And then what caused you to eventually get into fighting and make that decision that, hey, I want to fight in a cage and face punch for a living?
Yeah, that's exactly how I said it.
Yeah, that's how it was back then.
Yeah. So, you know, this is just the whole way I got into wrestling. I look over the course of my life and it's just so classic me. It really is. It really is. So I had, I was in 7th grade and I had a friend, my only friend in 7th grade. You know, I had like, you know, I'd hide by people, but like, you know, my one friend that I was tight with, you know?
Yeah.
And, he's like, Phil, I need you to come with me. I want to try out for the wrestling team, but I can't go alone. Like, I don't know anybody. Like, I don't know. I just can't go alone. Can you come with me? I was like, all right, man, it looks gay, but I'll go. And so, you know, that was like as a 7th grader, you know, that was like my honest opinion. I was like, I don't know, man. It looks weird.
Yeah.
And so I get there and the coach is like, nah, man, you can't just sit on the sidelines. You got to get in. I'm like, I don't have any clothes. He's like, all right, well, you just got to wrestle in your school clothes. And I remember because I snuck out my brother's shirt that day. I grabbed his shirt and I wore it. So now I worked out my brother's shirt. And in my blue jeans that I went to school in, I was like, yo, this is the worst day ever. Like, I'm all sweaty now. I gotta take my shirt off, hide it, sneak into the house sweaty, throw my brother's shirt in the laundry, do his shirt in the laundry, and then somehow get it back into his room before he notices I'm gonna get beat up. Like,
yeah.
That was my whole thought process. And so I just go downstairs. I'm talking to my mom, like, Mom, man, I went to wrestling practice, and I'm telling her all about it. And she's like, well, Phil, I tell you what, it was a Wednesday. She goes up, Phil, I tell you what, just finish out the week. And if you still don't like it, you can quit. So it's all right, I can do that. And as sure as my name is Phil Davis, Monday came, I forgot to quit, and I just kept showing up. That's it.
And then just got better.
There was no, my dad was a wrestler. My older brothers were wrestlers.
Yeah.
Never even heard of it. Never even seen it. My experience with wrestling was watching AC Slater on Saved by the Bell. That was it.
Wow, dude. I have the Karate Kid, and I almost sometimes feel weird about saying that. You just said AC Slater. Wow. Phil Davis, NCAA D1 All-American, AC Slater got him into it.
Completely by accident. You know what I mean?
That's funny,
but,
dude.
But to the second part of your question,
so you're just trashing people. You're just trashing people on the mats and wrestling, and then boom. When do you want to start? When out wrestling everybody and throwing them around isn't enough for you, you want to start punching them in the face. When did this happen?
Yeah. I mean, why not?
I mean, you can control them anyway.
Sports where, yeah, wrestling's one of those sports where, man, it's so much fun, but at the same time, it only pays off when you win gold. When you win the Olympic gold. And, you know, and there's only one guy that gets the spot. This is in MMA, you know, in the UFC, you know, in any organization, you got a roster that's 30, 40 people deep per weight class. There's a lot of people that are eating. In USA Wrestling, there's one guy who has all the sponsorships, and he's the guy who wins gold. That's it. Yeah. And a lot of times you might have two guys that win gold, and whoever has the better story and the better, you know, charisma, whatever, what have you, that's the guy that gets the sponsors. That's the guy who gets everything. And, you know, as I became closer to that point where I would decide Olympic wrestling or MMA, it just became a no-brainer. So I remember, because I graduated on the Olympic year, and I remember seeing some of the lead up for this Chinese runner, this marathon runner. She would run something crazy like 300 miles a month. And I was like, see, the difference between me and her is I know for a fact I don't want it. I don't want that gold that bad.
No.
She wants it a month, 300 miles? Oh, bro, she's running a marathon every day of the week. For real. Every day.
Yeah, that's like 10 miles a day.
Yeah. Yeah, she's, I mean, you know, I knew I didn't want that Olympic gold that much. And at that point, why waste your time? If you know somebody out there wants it more than you, don't waste your time. You'll embarrass yourself. You know, just move on to something you're passionate about. So that was my easy segue to MMA.
And then you moved, and then so how did that start out for you? You had like an amateur fight, right? At least one or two amateur fights, so to test yourself out.
Yeah.
Were you sparring? Because I know a lot of these wrestling guys, like wrestlers like yourself, come into MMA, and a lot of you, like even Fitch, when he came to AKA, I'm promoting AKA Thailand all the time. That's naturally the only AKA I know right now. When Fitch came to AKA initially, he never had a sparring session, but he had like 5 or 6 or 7 fights. I'm not lying to you, man. And so, like, and he came from Purdue. He just trained hard wrestling and then went out and fought. Did you get to a gym to formally start training like MMA for a while before you started fighting, or did you kind of just go in there as a wrestler and use that and slowly gain everything else?
Yeah, no, we did some sparring. We did. I started going like probably 2 weeks after my national title. So May 2008. March 2008. I win, 2 weeks off. Probably April 2008. I start doing boxing once a day, jiu-jitsu. It was either jiu-jitsu or boxing every day. And got some guys. Finally took a while. Got some sparring partners, and just kind of built my way up. And as soon as graduation happened, I had a fight within 15 days.
Yeah.
So that was it was crazy because I knew for a fact the guy had more experience than me. This guy was crazy. This guy was like 45 years old. 45 years old. And I'm like, I don't even know what this guy's experience level is. Doesn't matter. I am the best 24-year-old wrestler in the entire world. He don't stand a chance. Yeah. He doesn't stand a chance at anything.
It's true.
This poor soul don't stand a chance. I mean, then I went in to beat the guy up. But and after that, like we did we would host like different like training camps, and my manager at the time, he would bring different guys in and just you know, we train and we would spar and we just kind of like exchange techniques, similar to a wrestling camp. Done very poorly for MMA. Looking back, done very poorly. You wouldn't do that necessarily with MMA, but yeah, we would just try to learn as much as possible, train as much as possible, get some grappling tournaments in. So yeah, I was training it all before I got to AKA. Are you kidding me? The first time I came to AKA, I sparred with Cain. Right?
Right. Good choice.
And, this
Good
is
choice.
Way back on Hillsdale, right?
Yeah.
So. Right, so it's they're like, all right, here's the deal. This is Jav talked to me. Javier Mendez. He's like, Cain's never gone 3 rounds with the same sparring partner. And I'm like, what? What?
Never.
What are you trying to say to me?
I've never seen it happen.
No, it's so
5,
like, right, cool.
4. I've never seen one.
So he's like, all right, you'll be fine. So go in there. And so I'm like, you know, I'm brand new. I got a couple amateur fights against these cats, and the Cain's already out here destroying people. All right, fine. So I go in there. And, I mean, Cain was still green at that time too, but he wasn't that green. He was green for Cain, but not that green. So anyhow, I get there, we mixing it up. And he pops through a couple good times, and I take him down, and you could hear like the people in the gym. Like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is all I got. Like, that's some chat, man. I take people down, man. This is all I got. And Cain got up, man. He was so mad. He came at me so hard. I was like, get me out of here, Hav. That was time. You heard the bell.
Yeah. You probably heard a lot of bells.
Oh yeah. It was good though. It was fun.
All right, guys, I want to thank our sponsor, AKA Thailand, the world's premier luxury training resort here in Phuket, Thailand. And I got some great news if you're listening to this in real time. We are opening soon. We are opening in 1 week. I'm very happy about that. June 15th, 2020 for you guys in the future watching this. But we are opening very soon. It's been 3 months of having the gym closed, and that has been so tough seeing the gym sit there. But it has enabled me to be able to get all new gear, all new bags. We're doing new mats. We're doing new equipment, all co-branded with AKA Thailand. Fairtex came on as a sponsor of ours. It will be... we got lunar air systems in there that NASA uses, NASA technology to purify the air, to kill all the bacteria in all the inside training facilities. 4 cleaners that their entire job is just to clean the rooms, clean the gear, clean the equipment between every single session. I am very, very confident in saying this is one of the cleanest gyms in the world, bar none, like just by far, definitely in Thailand. So we are definitely coming back with a bang. So if you're interested, check out akathailand.com to learn more. Again, if you're watching in real time, we're running some specials, so check out the pricing page and see if the specials are still going on, where you can pre-book your training. We're doing a reopen special for people that are coming out of quarantine and kind of help them out, save a little bit of money on coming here and getting away and starting their training. So check out akathailand.com. If you have any questions, it's info@akathailand.com, and we'll answer any questions you have. And if you haven't seen the gym, you haven't seen the podcast, and you're wondering what I'm talking about, here's a video to show you what we got.
What's up, everybody? I am here in Thailand. This is the first time I've ever been here. Been dying to come here for years. The great Mike Swick, he's one of the big reasons he's been trying to pull me down here. What he built down here, AKA Thailand, is incredible. There's people here from all over the world. You can train mixed martial arts here, jiu-jitsu. They have weightlifting, they have cardio, and obviously they have Muay Thai, boxing, everything. telling you guys, I know everybody wants to go to Thailand because Thailand's so cool, but you can't come to Thailand without coming to AKA Thailand. Come on.
So to catch up, so 7th grade, started getting into wrestling, but how old were you at, because some of the viewers, like, I get a question a lot about, like, am I too old to get an MMA? And obviously you are a different situation by far with your college gate wrestling and stuff. But how old were you when you started MMA? Just for the record, just so I can put a timeline on this.
Let's see.
Like when you first had your first amateur fight.
Oh, okay, then 23. I was 23 and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. And did you have any fighters that, like, when you were getting into MMA, obviously you made that choice and there was reasons you made that choice. You were obviously watching it on TV and seeing these fighters and stuff. Did you have any fighter that you really looked up to? Like for me, it was Vitor Belfort when I was young, and he was like 19 and he was just crushing people. I mean, that's why you see me try to knock people out in 20 seconds in my career, because like I always try to emulate Vitor Belfort, because I wanted to look like him too, and I failed miserably at that. But like I wanted to emulate him because like I was a striker, I wasn't as good on the ground starting out. So like when I would see him go against like guys that weren't strikers or as good as strikers and stuff, and he would win, that would give me hope. Like if I could just punch fast and hard and be aggressive, maybe I can be like him one day and get in the UFC and get in the big shows and fight. Did you have that one person that you looked at and you were like, wow, man, I want to be like that person, or I want to have a career like that person, or achieve success like them, or like their style?
Absolutely. I love Chuck Liddell. But then here's the thing. Like you say you didn't look like Vitor Belfort. I literally can't fight like Chuck Liddell.
No one
literally cannot do it.
Nobody can. Nobody can.
He's just such like a he's such a boss. Like you know Chuck outside of fighting. He's a crazy dude, but such a great guy.
I love Chuck.
And me too. And he's man, I freaking love Chuck Liddell. Like when I see him get in the cage, he's just freaking, big burly chest out there. I was like, this guy's the man. I want to do that. So that was my guy. But then as I began to train, I realized I don't really have that. he was just super natural with it. Just overhand uppercut. Boom.
Kicks, everything, yeah.
Yeah.
And that aggression. And he just had that aggression too,
Aggression,
and like, yeah, I've seen, like, you go to a Chuck Liddell seminar and you're just like, you just see a bunch of people looking at him like, shit, huh? Like, because you can't do what he does. You know what I mean? Like, you can try, but nobody in that entire seminar looks like Chuck. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's not like technical BJJ seminars where it's like you kind of look like you're doing the same thing. He's just Chuck, man. There's only one Chuck, and yeah, I love him. I love that guy, man. And what is it? So, man, you fought so many good guys, dude. And you were you had such a good record when you left UFC, and then now you're in Bellator and fighting in Bellator. What is your ultimate goal in MMA? Like, what is it that you want to achieve before you leave? Like, that rhymed, dude. That's going to be my new thing to ask. What do you want to achieve before you leave? I'm gonna coin that shit.
Yeah.
But seriously, man, like what?
Right. While we're on the.
Yeah, but what is your, like? What is it, man? What is it that you're chasing? Like, obviously, people want to be champions and stuff like that, but deep, from in your heart, like, what is it that you really want to achieve in this sport before you move on? Because you only have so much time being a fighter, and you have to move on to something else. Mm-hmm. What is it that you want to legitify and achieve in your career?
Well, in that regard, I really like cats like Fedor, because he has such a great career and such a storied career, and still there were places where he wasn't able to fight, and guys who he never got the chance to fight. But because of his legacy and the guys he did fight, people regard him as one of the best to ever do it. So I really just want to, where I am is where I am, and I just want to just continue to outperform each time I step in the cage. And I would love to fight some guys, and there's some guys maybe I don't ever get the chance to fight them, but I would like to just really kind of leave a lasting legacy.
I think you've done that, man. You definitely have left quite a legacy already, and then you're continuing to do so each and every fight. So I think you're definitely well on your way for that. What is it after fighting? Like, everybody has their own thing after that they want to do and they want to pursue. Mm-hmm. What is it? What is it for you? I guess what's your end game? Like, what do you see yourself doing when fighting is over? You're 100% not competing anymore. What is it that you'd like to be doing?
Oh man, there's a couple of things. So I have my real estate license, and right now I do just deals for friends and family. It's very time consuming, and I would never want to represent myself as a person who can have 10 clients right now while I'm training. That would be way too much, you know. So it's good for me to like gain experience and to really get my feet wet and kind of understand the market and understand what I'm doing as a realtor. So there's that. I really enjoy that, but also I want to be more of a real estate investor.
Okay, yeah.
And for me, I really want to be able to understand what's a good buy from a market standpoint, from just kind of being a realtor and kind of knowing the area very, very well in and out as a realtor, and then even better as an investor. And that, and maybe expand some more with our restaurants, and I'd be happy doing that.
What kind of food do you have in your restaurant?
So it's old school American deli.
Okay.
So it's soups, sandwiches, salads, typical.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very, very super cool story. My wife's grandparents came over from Korea. Okay. And they bought this deli. This is over 40 years ago.
Oh wow.
So they bought this, they bought this deli, and mind you, they're obviously older, and they not that old, but they came here as adults, bought a deli, and then my mother-in-law, their daughter, she became the obvious translator, for all legal things. Hey, Mom, I need you to read this. Like, all right, sign here, do this. They're just natural things that happen in immigrant families. And then so my mother-in-law met my father-in-law. He came to America in, I want to say, high school. He was born in Mexico, and then they kind of took over the deli from my mother-in-law's parents as she became older in age, and so now we took it over from my mother-in-law. So wow. Just kind of a cool story. Been in the community a very long time.
I can see you owning a restaurant called Mr. Wonderful's. I always had this thing where, like, I'm not even into the restaurant. Like, I used to wait tables out of high school, but I'm not even into like restaurant owning and the business that much, to be honest. But I always dreamed of having, like, if I ever had like money, like got like extra money and just had plenty of money to spend, I'd like to have a chain of restaurants called Quick Swicks and make it like a fast food restaurant with like hamburgers, fries, and everything, but like healthy fries and hamburgers and everything. So it's like baked fries, like the hamburgers are like, I guess, I don't know, however you can make them the most healthy, but still be fast food and still taste somewhat decently, and then super fast. That was my thing, dude. I was like, if I ever had it.
Why can't this happen?
It might, man. I don't know. Like, if right now I got so much focus on AKA Thailand, and that's enough, especially with COVID and having my business shut down for 3 months. But yeah, it would be cool, man. That if I had a restaurant, I guess what I'm trying to say, that's what it would be. It would be called Quick Swicks. So you need
I will
Mr.
say
Wonderfuls.
I have my own sandwich. I have 2 sandwiches, actually.
Yeah? Tell me.
Yeah. So we have like a secret menu for our locals and for like our social media friends and family. And we put it out there, but we don't like to actually advertise it. So there is the first sandwich I came up with, which is the sub mission. See what I'm saying? The sub mission.
Oh, I got you. I see what you're doing.
Yeah. The submission sandwich. Pretty delicious. And then there's also like the Phil special, which is and I feel terrible because my wife she's so good at what she does. I don't actually know all the ingredients. So
wow.
I couldn't even tell you what it is. All I can tell you is it's amazing.
Wow.
Because if I told you, I would forget something, and that's not everything. So,
well, describe the taste. What is it like? Give me something to go on, so I can imagine at least what I'm eating when I eat a Phil special.
Here we go. Hey, quick question: what's in the submission? Hold on. Go ahead. Say it again.
Corned beef with melted Swiss cheese, turkey with melted cheddar cheese, bacon, Thousand Island dressing, barbecue sauce, lettuce, tomatoes, and onions.
Okay, wait.
That is stacked.
I forgot to tell you, you are live on an interview right now, so don't give away the special sauce.
Yeah, don't give away the special sauce.
Is there more?
No, that's all.
Okay. All right. I was just in here talking about you, so I was just making sure. Okay.
That sounds stacked, man. That sounds stacked.
It's a man sandwich, dog. It's not to be taken lightly.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. It's cool you have that going on too. And then the real estate, man, getting your real estate license was a super smart idea. Because it never hurts to have that knowledge, and then obviously have your license. And then if you get into real estate investing, you're there, bro. You're so much farther ahead of everybody else. Then now you have your name and you have all this other stuff going for you as well. And like, that's awesome, man. That's great.
So, I mean, here's the deal. What really hurts is that I think people, just in general, we have to be ready for like. We have to be ready to bend and to flex with life, and just be open. That's really what COVID-19 really shows. How much you've prepared, how much you have prepared to be able to bend and flex with life, and it's oftentimes very painful how much we haven't prepared.
It's not even that. No, I was just going to say, it's not even that, but it's like, dude, who in the world could have possibly prepared for that? Like, and I speak from my business because I'm on an island in Thailand where 100% of my customers get flown in. Like, I don't have local customers. So all my customers are foreign from different countries. So how could you ever prepare for your gym being not closed down for like maintenance or something, but the government shutting your gym down and shutting the airports down to where your customers can't even fly in for 3 months. Like you can't possibly prepare for that kind of worst case scenario. And even you with your restaurant and everyone else, the same virus, the same situation hit everybody the same way. Like it's like literally the worst of the worst of the worst. I am going to be so overboard on my preparation for the worst after this is over with. I'm going to be preparing, like I told in previous podcasts, for like the apocalypse. Like I'm going to prepare for like apocalypse craziness, like after this, because like I never saw this coming, man. Like we were doing so good in January, February, March. Like we were everything was going so great, and then just boom, done. Like just over. Craziness.
Absolutely. It's for example, I had one of my brother's friends. My brother, he's an artist, and he works in high fashion on Rodale Drive. And one of his friends, same deal. He's a tailor at one of the high end stores on Rodale Drive. And COVID hits, nobody's working. This guy manufactures masks. And so this is like 2 weeks in, and he has a mask that he's manufactured, and he has a new website up, and he basically, you know, he sends you so many masks. He sends you like 2 masks a week, and it's like a subscription based service. Right. And just, you know, just like your Amazon Prime, you know, every Monday here goes your fresh set of masks. And I was just like, man, how you just pivot like that? Like it was just so seamless.
Yeah.
It was just so seamless. Same thing, just, you know, a couple other businesses I see in the area have just been, you know, just pivot so smoothly into things at work. And even though I know you've been doing your podcast thing for quite some time, you know, I'm sure you've diverted more attention and more resources into your podcast during this time.
Yeah, I did, dude. I've done like 30 episodes in like 2 months, bro. I'm like, I have a studio in my house, dude. I'm living in this thing right now. So it's like, I gotta stay busy, dude. I gotta, like I got the hustle in me, dude. So it's like, I gotta stay busy. So if I was locked for my gym. Like they put us in districts and shut the roads down. So I couldn't even travel to my gym or to some of my coworkers and stuff. And we would meet at checkpoints to like have meetings and to share files and stuff like that with the police and the military there, to like for these podcasts and stuff. I'd meet at checkpoints to give them the files so they would go and edit them and post them on YouTube and stuff. So yeah, but I just can't sit around. So like it's just straight into the podcast, and like now it's going to continue on, and we got a great workflow. But so I've tried to pivot, but not quite like these guys. I mean, these guys are way more prepared than I was for AKA Thailand. That's for sure.
But again, I would say give yourself some credit. I would. You know, it's just that resilience of mine. You didn't just give up and say, "Woe is me." You know, you kept it pushing, you kept it moving, and that's what, man. I mean, that's life in a nutshell, right? Times have changed. You just got to keep moving. You got to keep changing. So.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna get over soon, man. We open up the gym here in a week, so I think we're going to allow Muay Thai classes. We haven't had a COVID case in Phuket in 2 weeks now, as of this morning. So it was only 200 cases on the whole island, and the island's big. It's not like a small island. I mean, we're talking, I don't know how many people, but it's a lot of people. So Thailand, luckily, didn't have much COVID at all. Even though you would think from the fact that we have to wear a mask and we were locked down and the roads were blocked, they literally, it was like a, you know, they were tough with how they dealt with it. But that being said, we have no issues right now. And so it's like, that's a good thing. And now we're getting back kind of to normal. And in a week, we get to open the gym. And then 2 weeks, airports are open and we can have customers come back in. So I think it's going to be a slow process with the Muay Thai opening first and then everything else opening after that. When are we going to get you to come down here? I've been asking you before, but when are you going to come to Thailand and bring the family and
you got your
come
nerve,
train?
Man.
Come on, man.
All these
it ain't, but it's only Phil. It's only 24-hour flight, dude.
Shoot.
Just
well, hell, I
24 hours.
I could be there in no time. Yeah.
You might have to take a few sleeping pills and watch like 10 movies. But once you get here, bro, I promise you, it is so amazing, dude. You got to come out here and train and see the gym, and then definitely Phuket, man. All the islands, and your family would love it. It'd be amazing.
I would listen. I got a couple of trips that my wife is like, nah, this trip has to happen. This trip has to happen. She like Kauai is on our list right now. 2 years ago, we went to Guam and Korea. So we're knocking them down. But I'm telling you, Thailand is on our list. I will be there for sure. And the Phi Phi Islands, that's out your way?
Yeah, it's like a 45-minute boat ride off the coast of Phuket. You can go from AKA Thailand and be in Phi Phi Island on the main island of Phi Phi in an hour and a half. But from being inside AKA Thailand to being on the shores of Phi Phi Island.
All right, that's it. I'm sold. My ticket's as good as bought right now. We just gotta find a good time to get away from the restaurant, and then we're there.
Yeah, man, you'll get some great Muay Thai training in here. We'll go to the beaches. The food is amazing. Get some boats, cruise the islands. It's amazing. I got some some friends down here that were real hesitant. Took like years to get them to finally come down here. Man, they loved it. Now they come all the time. So it's definitely something that you would do. What do you do for fun other where you're at right now? Like, what do you do on the side outside of training and stuff? Like, what is one of your fun activities that you enjoy?
Bro, I enjoy reading, and I'm an introvert, so but you know, people think that means that you're like socially awkward. No, that's just socially awkward. No, I love talking to people.
Yeah, you're not.
But it does drain me. I do love to spend time just alone, and whenever I get some alone time, I just crack a book open. I started a book club. COVID-19 tried to kill my book club. It's crazy, man. Like, I thought I would have more time to read during COVID. I don't. I have kids jumping on me nonstop. I have no time to read. No time to read. It's insane. By the time it's like 9 o'clock and my eyes are just too heavy to read. And it's just unbelievable. COVID just killed my book club. But we're gonna get it up and running again. We're at like, I don't know. We were doing 2 books. It's crazy because in December we were doing 2 books a month, and in November we also did 2, maybe 3 books. And so we were really pushing ourselves. You know, I love my book club. It's all fighters and fighters' wives. So we really push ourselves to you know, get the most out of what we want. You know, we want to be able to. Most of it is fiction, but there's also some really good nonfiction. Sometimes we'll read the nonfiction, it gets a little heavy, and then the next book is much lighter. But it's constantly you know, sharing experiences and gaining knowledge. And then COVID happened, and man, I'm like, I don't even know. It's so sad and so grim. I can't even read this sad book. Like, but
so Phil Davis.
I love it.
So Phil Davis has secret sandwiches and a book club. I would have never thought that going into this podcast. That's crazy, but that's awesome. I was going to ask you too what kind of books you like. So you said both fiction and nonfiction. What about TV? Do you watch Netflix? And then are you more into movies like action films and drama stuff, or are you look more into like documentaries and true life stuff?
I don't like anything that's reality TV.
No.
I do like a suspense thriller. I think drama is like code word for like not so much the romantic stuff, but just like a lot of crying. I like to see more of the internal struggle for someone to do the right thing or to overcome their circumstances. Those sort of storylines. The love and romance, I'll entertain it for the wife, but documentaries, I watch a lot of documentaries. Tiger King, obviously. You being
what'd you think about
Thailand.
That?
Oh my gosh, nonstop craziness.
They're doing a movie now with Nicolas Cage is going to be Joe Exotic. They're doing a scripted TV series. I'm not joking.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw the county commissioner. It was either the commissioner or like the sheriff's office, but one of them just recently, this is like within the last week, they said Carol Baskin's husband's will was 100% a forgery. And I was like, oh, I knew it. It's about to go down.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, so, I think she killed her husband, and I think Epstein didn't kill himself.
She definitely did that, man.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Dude, when they said that it said in the will, if he dies or goes missing, what? and then he goes missing. Like what? Like that's like getting the chances of that is like getting killed by a shark in a swimming pool. Like that. That's how like that's so impossible, dude. That is so unbelievable. Impossible. So now they're trying her. So that was the worst documentary of her life because she's like facing charges now. Like they're gonna and then I think the daughter of the husband or whatever, I think if I remember correctly, is like getting involved now that they found out that the will was falsified and all this because I guess she took all the money. And I guess maybe the daughter didn't get as much. So like now there's all kinds of shit going down. That's crazy, man.
Well, even way back in the documentary in Tiger King, they talked about how her kids were they thought that she hid his body under the septic pump, under the septic tank. And I was like, dang. Like, could you imagine thinking that your mom was capable of that?
That's crazy.
That'd be wild to me. I mean, my mom's from Chicago. She's a little bit of gangster, but
she's not gonna do
I don't know if she could kill my dad.
Nah. Dude, that's crazy, dude. Yeah,
wild, bro.
Yeah. Netflix is putting out some crazy stuff. I just saw that Epstein documentary talking about the whole kind of scandal with him, and like that's another crazy one, dude. Jesus Christ. He's like he committed suicide, but then like, well, I don't think he did, but he committed suicide, and like all the cameras, both times, the attempted suicide and the actual suicide, all the cameras didn't work. The guards weren't there. Like what? How does that get? Like I understand, like he knew stuff that was probably incriminating for people. I mean, Bill Clinton, they said that he was on his plane 26 times to, some to this island as well. So I get that he had stuff on people, but how does it go from like say you're Bill Clinton and you're worried like, okay, he has some dirt on me. I got to make sure and get rid of this guy. How does it get from Bill Clinton all the way down to like the jail without anybody saying anything? You know what I mean? Like how does that order get sent down? If that's even the case, but I'm just saying, how does that happen, man? That's just so beyond. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand how you can get away with that kind of stuff without leaving trails and people talking and that's a crazy thing, man.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it's funny. Oh, whoa. He actually was a co-defendant with the current president. Did you see those papers?
Who?
Yeah, Epstein.
What his the guy who gave him that sweetheart deal was Trump's I forgot what the position was, but he had to resign. Yeah, Acosta. Yeah. He had to resign, so that was crazy too because he gave him a crazy deal.
President Trump and Epstein were co-defendants in a case back in 2003. It's pretty bad, but
that's crazy.
I don't know what happened to that case. So I guess they didn't end up being obviously convicted. But the problem is you have these very rich and powerful people. It's never about facts. It's not about facts.
Yeah.
It's not like when those investigators, when you watch that documentary and you see what those investigators found, it's like, whoa.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
This wasn't enough for a conviction, huh?
For 10, 15 years. Yeah, it's crazy.
And so it's crazy the way it started, too. It just said, oh, yeah, Jeffrey Epstein just walked into the Palm Beach Police Department, gave him $100,000 and said, hey, I just want you guys to have whatever you need.
Yeah.
What? Well, okay, thanks.
If that doesn't scream I'm doing some shady shit.
Right? So, exactly. It's just, it's sad, the justice system. And it's sad how it can be manipulated. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it can. It definitely can.
Oh, we can.
Yes, I know I've taken a lot of your time, and I appreciate it. But I got to ask you something. So one time I was on the elevator with you before a fight, and I was with my friend, and he's a big fan. And I was on the elevator with you, and it was fight week for you, and you had a fight coming up, and you were drinking Sprite. and you were cutting weight or something, or you were just cut weight or something, and my friend was like, "Oh man, you like Sprite on fight week?" And you were like, "Yeah, because the bubbles." I remember. It was so funny. Is it true? Because I heard you had a Sprite commercial and a Sprite commercial and a Sprite endorsement. Is that true?
Yeah. You never saw it?
Never saw it, man. And like I heard about it. And I tried to look it up right before this podcast because I was like, I want to see this thing, and I can't see it. I can't find it.
Okay, I'll have to see if I can send it to you.
Because I heard you did a big Sprite commercial, man. I want to see that thing now.
Right. You know what's crazy, man? That was like the easiest money ever. Because I love Sprite.
That's my point. Because I had that little memory of us in the elevator, and you were just like, I just love the bubbles, right. and you genuinely were just enjoying a Sprite, and then so I was like, what better person to do a commercial? And then obviously
you couldn't find one. I love it.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
let me explain the thing about the bubbles. So when I'm cutting weight, obviously, I'm not eating a lot of food, and so I could have, let's say, 12 ounces of water, or I could have 12 ounces of Sprite. And the 12 ounces of Sprite, like the bubbles in my stomach, makes me feel so much more satiated. It just makes me feel like I ate so much. And that just comes from a lifetime of cutting weight when something so small can make you feel so good. Like,
yeah. I know how it feels.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's my whole thing. I can't drink as much as I want, but as long as I can only have 4 ounces of something, I'm gonna have 4 ounces of Sprite. Like, nice. Because either way, when I wake up in the morning, I'm gonna be dehydrated.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's gonna happen. That's awesome, dude. That's so funny. Yeah, so send me that when we get off, man. Send me that link because I tried to find it and I couldn't find it, and I wanted to see it because I knew at the time you got a big Sprite deal, and then I was going to see it and I never did, and then I obviously thought about it again when we were doing this podcast, and then I couldn't find it. So send it to me. I want to see this thing, man, because I know you love Sprite.
Okay.
I was there.
I do.
I was a witness.
That's funny. It's so funny you remembered that.
Yeah, I remember everything, dude. I remember so many things. That's why these podcasts are so fun because I've had so many different fighters on the show, but like I've spent somewhat, whether a little time or a lot of time with all of them, and I remember all these small things, and we can kind of rehash and go back and share memories and kind of go down memory lane because it's a small community. It used to be a lot smaller, but it was a small community of us fighters back in the day, man.
Yeah,
and we'd travel around and fight, and it was a good time, man. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I love my fighting career and the people that I met, and you're still enjoying yours, and like it's just such a good thing. Now I'm in business and I'm enjoying that more, primarily because I'm 40, and 40 and fighting just doesn't really. I don't want to be like fight it that 45-year-old fighting that 24-year-old coming out of that college game wrestler. I don't want to end up being that guy, So like I'm good with like retiring from fighting, but man, I loved it. I wouldn't take anything. I definitely wouldn't trade anything as far as what happened in my career and stuff. So, but man, I want to thank you, man. You give me a lot of your time, and it was great catching up with you. And I think we learned a lot about you and your past and history that I definitely didn't know. And I've always been a huge fan of yours. Loved your fights. Love all your fights. I look forward to Bellator announcing your name coming up on one of these upcoming cards and seeing you get back in there, man. You always do a great job, and I'm eventually gonna make it down there and have that submission sandwich. Yeah. And then I'm gonna eventually get you to come to Phuket, and you're gonna come enjoy the islands and see what kind of life is here, man. Because I tell you, you're gonna love it, bro.
I don't know. Maybe I'll just convince my wife, maybe we just move there, start a church, and that'll be it. Like, boom.
Yeah, there you go. It's cheap, man. You can take Hawaii and just cut it in half, and that's what you'll spend going to Phuket. Probably even more than that, especially now after COVID. So just think about all the money you would save, man. It's beautiful islands. Everybody kind of goes to Hawaii, but how many people that goes to Phi Phi Island, and Phuket? So it's like, what if you can do that for half the price, bro? Half the price. See, I have a background in sales. You got a background in real estate, so I'm selling you right now. Half the price. You can be on the shores of Phi Phi Island for half the price. The food, half the price. You can see wild animals. You can cruise on the boats. You can swim in the most beautiful, tranquil waters. We can train at the best gym in the world. Bro, I know people. I'm telling you, I know the best gym in the world. It happens to be, I'm a little biased, but it happens to be AKA Thailand, and you will enjoy it.
All right. But that's not all.
What else? What else?
I'll even throw in a free mitt session.
Yeah, dude. You're supposed to I will give you a free mitt session. Oh yeah, it was gonna be bonus secret unlocks. So I'll give you secret unlocks. You get free mitt session. I'll give you the free. I got the. Speaking of which, I can't believe I didn't think of this earlier. I got the quick Swick sandwich, but it's not a sandwich. It's a. Wow, I can't believe I forgot the name of it, but it's a toasted sandwich, whatever you want to call that. Okay. And it's so I got my own little sandwich thing in my restaurant too. So you can come have that. Toasty. Sorry, it's a toasty. I can't believe I forgot about that. The Quick Swick toasty. And it's got like egg, ham, cheese, toasted. It's really good. It ain't nothing it ain't got near the submission level of ingredients. But for Thailand, it's pretty good. It's pretty good after a good long session, so.
Okay. All right. Well, we have to exchange notes, bro. We gotta exchange notes and recipes. See what we can do here.
I'm not much of a restaurant guy. We got good protein shakes, good healthy food. I let them take care of that, the experts. But the cool thing is, man, we have the restaurant on site. We have a 2-acre property, and we got multiple buildings. So we got like a almost 6,000 square foot open air Muay Thai area where you can see the mountain and the jungle while you're training. So like in between your bag work and in between your pad work, when you're catching your breath, you're not looking at like walls and other training partners all exhausted and pictures on the wall that you see every single day. You're looking at the jungle, and you're looking at mountains, and the air's coming from the source, from all this plant life right into your lungs. And then we got the MMA BJJ building. We got the weight room and the Airdyne, the AKA Airdyne. You've seen that, obviously. You've done that before. Yep. We have a huge Airdyne room upstairs with a view as well of the mountain. And then we got the restaurant on site. So you can go and get your workout and then order your food, go take a shower. By the time you get back to the restaurant, like your food's on the table, you got a fresh coconut, you got your healthy meal, be it grilled chicken and rice, whatever you want, all just waiting for you, and then boom, man, it doesn't get easier than that. Sold? Are you sold?
American Airlines, I need a flight.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's
man.
Sold.
That sounds great. That's the life right there.
All right. I'm going to hold you to it, man. And listen, I appreciate you taking the time to doing this podcast, man. It was great catching up with you, and I wish you all the luck, and we'll stay in touch. I want to see that Sprite commercial. I want to come and visit when I come back to America, and then I want to get you here in Thailand. So it's happening, dude. It's going to happen.
It's happening. 2020 is our year.
2020, and definitely 2021 for sure. All right, brother.
All right, brother.
Take care, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, there you have it, Phil Davis. Man, what a great conversation. We got into some crazy tangents, and that's what I love, man. I love getting into these deep conversations with such high-profile fighters that's done so much for the sport and are continuing to do so much for the sport and in the sport. He's a great guy. Like I said, we've crossed paths many times in our careers, but it was great to sit down and have a nice, long conversation about so many different things. I think we covered quite a bit. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got to enjoy sitting in and listening to us talk, and hopefully a lot of this resonated with you and either motivated you, inspired you, or at least informed you about Phil Davis. There's a lot of things that I found out that I thought was interesting. So anyway, if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see in the future, maybe some future guests. Give us your critiques. We love hearing from you. We reply to everybody. If you're not watching on YouTube, definitely do it. It's always good to watch us interact. I think I really like building up the YouTube channel and this show, and we put a lot of work into the studio and trying to make these as professional as possible to make them viewer friendly. And if you're listening on the audio platforms, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, subscribe there. We're rated 5 stars on iTunes. I want to thank you guys for leaving reviews. It means the world to me to see these great reviews coming in. It makes me feel that what I'm doing here is helping and entertaining and informing you guys. This is fun for me. This is a hobby. I'm not a professional podcaster trying to make a living at this. I'm just having fun and having great conversations with great people, and I enjoy sharing them with people who are interested. So I'm glad you enjoy it. And if you don't, tell me why, and I'll make it better. I'll try to make it where you will enjoy it. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you for viewing, and I'll see you next time.